Yes, we are.
Hello. This is new technology. And it's new technology. It means I never quite know what's going on. I just hope it's working. So if people can see this and they put a comment into this thread on Facebook, we know we're doing okay.
Yeah, pretty much.
So that's have you managed to get the Perimenopause Hub up on Facebook? Are you looking at it?
Me, yes, but I can't find the video.
Give it a moment, give it a moment. We'll just natter, if anybody's there and joining us, say hello, and then we know that we're live to the group. This is always a bit daunting, this first bit. Oh, we're live. People can see this, they put a comment in today. We're in delay, but we're live. Hello.
Okay. I still can't find it. There we go.
We're good, we're in delay, but we're here.
Okay,
we can start. So always a bit of a dodgy start when we zoom into Facebook. But Emily, take it away.
Hi, right. Yes, sorry, this is because we're on Andrea's Zoom rather than my StreamYard. It's confused me completely.
Sorry. So I can record it so I know what I've said.
So we are going to look at all things natural menopause today, aren't we?
We are. And this came about really as I think a new member last week asked a really simple question. I was like, duh, well, I've never asked it. And she said, what type of menopause are you trying to have? You're trying to have a natural one or an HRT one? And I was initially thrilled at the number of people that were saying, I'm going to have a natural menopause, but I was quickly followed by the abject misery associated to having a natural menopause. And I thought, gosh, I'm here, I'm helping women every day, but I'm helping, on one-to-one or in small groups. I really want to help, those in the group that want to have a successful natural menopause because it is achievable. And that's what we're going to talk about today.
Cool. So I guess a good starting point is to say what you're meaning by a natural menopause.
Yeah, okay. I see a natural menopause as doing everything within your health that you're capable to do to give you optimal health so that you can go through the change of the menopause and you can choose not to have HRT. I completely respect there are those women that is the only route for them, and that's absolutely fine. So I know there's like 40% or 50% of the group that just not interested, and I don't have an issue. But for all those ladies that said, I'm having natural menopause, oh my God, it's so hard. Oh my God, I'm really suffering. I'm here to tell you that you don't need that to be the case. So a natural menopause is not about sitting there and just taking it on the chin that, I've just got to man up. It's something that happens. It's actually understanding the underlying health issues that the menopause change, the stress of the menopause change magnifies on the body.
And to be fair, actually, even if you are taking HRT, it's worth looking at all these other things anyway, isn't it?
If you're taking HRT, this is still happening.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just the HRT may be a little bit reversing, a little bit topping up, and to be fair, a little bit masking of these health symptoms. What I'm really looking for, and I say to women, you're somewhere, 45, 50, you're actually only halfway through the time you've got to live in this body. And we service a car every year, and yet we've got to nearly 50 and we haven't once serviced our bodies. Yeah. The menopause comes along and it's a real stress for various reasons. Just take it. It is a real hormonal stress on your body. And it does magnify all of those things that you've been getting away with up until now. And getting away with might mean a bottle of red and a pizza very regularly. All of those things, you just come to a point in your life and your body says, no more, I'm knackered. Again, if we want the car analogy, your petrol tank is empty, your oil top-ups have dried up and your filters are clogged. So you're sputtering along and then you go. That's really what's happening, because you've got to ask the question, why are so many women going through the menopause with no symptoms? Because, so they say roughly a third of women have no symptoms, periods stop, and at some point they had a menopause. A third of us that are going, yeah, I know I'm perimenopausal or menopausal, but it's managing it. It's okay. I'm happier and healthier than I've ever been, so it's not a problem for me, and I'm 49. And then there are those that, are just falling off a cliff, feel like they want to kill themselves, it's really, really bad. And, I want to get to anybody that's got any kind of symptoms, whatever severity, whether it's light or it's complex, because it's something wrong with your body. And the women that I see that go through menopause with no symptoms are living incredibly healthy lives. You know, one is an organic sheep farmer. So, you know, exercise, good food, living the life. Another one, healthy life, plays sports, but maybe not too much. But, you know, there are those women that are sailing through the menopause and not even really knowing that they have it. And, you know, you've got to ask, what is the difference? We're all women, we're all losing progesterone and estrogen. It all comes to a point when it stops. So why is it some women stop without any problems and other women's it's a really, really terrible time for them? So that's what we're going to address today.
Absolutely. I think, and I'm sure you'll be covering this off in a minute, but I'm fairly sure that levels of stress have a huge impact, as well as whether you eat healthily and exercise and all of those things. But I do think that there is a prevalence of more of us having a worse time of it
I agree.
nowadays than maybe used to be the case, because we are all trying to work and be all things to all people. Whereas, you know, if you go back 50 years, sorry, I have a dog. If you go back 50 years, then a lot of women weren't trying to have to be all things to all people. You know, they were able to have a more relaxed life, shall we say.
You've absolutely hit the nail on the head. You've hit the nail on the head there, because although I've got like 5 absolute health imbalances that cause the menopause, the big underlying one of those, at least 4, the other 3 or 4, is adrenal fatigue. And this is the tiredness and the stress. Now, first of all, we get a certain level of adrenal fatigue just because we're going through the menopause by the very nature of it. But it has a knock-on effect that a hormone called cortisol leaches our vital nutrients out of any food that we may have that's got nutrients in, if we have real food nowadays. So this is why your body can suddenly feel like, you know, the plug has been pulled out and you're heavy-limbed, you've got no energy, you're not sleeping well, you've got achy joints, you've got achy muscles. All of these things come back to that leaching of vital nutrients. So I actually say the first thing that's going on is we're lacking in vital nutrients. And the only way you can help this is by putting something back into the body in the form of vitamins and minerals. The other major deficiency that we have at this time, and when I saw this, I read up about it, I was like, that's not a deficiency in dose, that's actually the menopause. This accounts for about 1/3 of menopausal symptoms. And that is a lack of essential fatty acids, otherwise known as omega-3 oil to you.
Yeah.
And the biggie is the adrenal fatigue. So we've already said the adrenal fatigue is happening anyway because you're going through the change, but now we add life onto it. And the reason I truly believe right now our generation is having a bad time, and if you think about the celebs that have been in the news over the last 2 or 3 years, they might be all just a little bit older than us. They might now be 51 through, say, 55. But let's say we're the same generation. Because we were the generation in school, we would go out and get a career. You are equal to men, go get a career. We had to really work hard to get those jobs. We had to work long. I was in media in London, so then we went out drinking afterwards. Whatever the men drank, we drank just as hard. Yeah. Literally burnt the candle at both ends. And when I speak to women in one-to-ones, I go, I bet you had a really stressful career. Are you in London by any chance? And then they go, how do you know? I'm in media. And I was like, been there, done that. Yeah. I said I sorted myself out, but unfortunately, you're a few years behind me. Excuse me. And it's caught up with you. Whereas being a therapist, obviously, I changed my life around from the very crazy media, stressful side of life. So, but, you know, having the job, having the children, having the husband, working the hours, doing the shopping, walking the dog, and now you'll hit an age where you're looking after your parents as well. And on top of all this, you will be eating to whatever degree you're eating to, because some women are eating fabulous diets and also still really suffering. It's a quick win for me if somebody's having a really bad diet, like, and you'll feel better. But when women are also having really clean eating, maybe even taking some supplements and still are having a bad time, there is some sort of mountain to climb there. So adrenal fatigue, what you kind of need to understand is it takes years to get to this stage.
Yeah.
So we can't turn it around in 5 minutes. There are some symptoms we can nip in the bud almost on the day. And believe it or not, for certain women, night sweats is one that you can really resolve quite quickly. You can resolve aches and pains in a few weeks. You can get on top of anxiety in a few weeks if you're taking the right supplements. But the underlying adrenal fatigue, it's almost like your constitution, your core energy. You know, when you were built, you were given a certain amount of energy. It's like that fuel tank again. That fuel, we've used it up. You know, and on top of everything else, we were told to exercise and be healthy, and we've pushed ourselves to the limit with HIIT classes, Zumba, boot camps, running a marathon regularly, you know, all those kind of things, and they've all taken their toll on our constitutional energy, and that is our core. You know, we were only given so much when we were born, and we've kind of emptied the tank a bit early. That's why I believe it's so bad.
Sounds familiar. Yes.
Yeah, and it's
hindsight, taking up long distance triathlon in my mid-30s wasn't the wisest thing.
Well, funnily enough, when I was in London, I saw a lot of that actually, women and men. I saw anybody from one of those 3 disciplines, whether it's swimming, running, or cycling, switch to triathlon. And I didn't really ever know the reason why. I'd ask them, I go, why have you gone from one energetic sport to 3? But pretty much they're all going, oh, I'm not feeling quite as fit as I was. I'll up my fitness.
It also is a lot of fun. Triathlon is a lot of fun.
Okay, never saw the appeal myself.
But yeah, switching up to the long distances is hard work on the body.
And you see, it's Louise Minchin, isn't it, on BBC? I watched with interest when she talked about her menopause journey. And what did she do? She went on HRT and went straight back to the extreme. And she's doing, I'm not sure if it's Ironmans, but she's doing things that like a stage on from all of that now.
Yeah, so she's been doing Ironmans for a while. And yeah, I think HRT is the one thing that's keeping her going.
Yeah, and I worry when there comes a time that maybe the HRT won't be able to support her, but that's her story. Which is why I'm very much about optimal health. And I just hope she's taking supplements as well as the HRT. But I said there were 5 areas that we have to look at that are wrong with your body. So we've done missing vital nutrients, the deficiency in essential fatty acids, the underlying adrenal fatigue. So the last 2 areas, one is impaired gut health. So your gut just isn't working as well as it should do. So we've got an imbalance of gut bacteria. And then the last one is more of an excess. So the other 4 have been deficiencies. You know, something's been missing. We have to add something in for all of those criteria. But the last one is the impairment of your liver. I normally call it liver toxicity. And that's actually where we have to take out, we have to cleanse. The liver is a massive filter in your body. And basically it's got clogged up with processed foods, sugars, alcohol, stimulants, medications, toxins that we breathe in, life, emotions, stress, excess estrogen. So when the progesterone has declined, but there's estrogens floating around the body looking to cause mischief, they can clog up the liver too. So it really, really is. The menopause is your chance to turn around your health. If the way I see it is, if you had a pain, you've got 2 ways of dealing with pain. You take a painkiller, knock it on the head then and there, or actually you get that pain regularly, then you find out what's causing it. It might be needed therapy or to change something to understand, you know, to relieve the pain at source rather than just mask it. And this is what, and I'm making it quite graphic because I want to really try and get it across to women. If you're suffering from symptoms from, you know, the fatigue, the aches and pains, you want to cry, mood swings, low mood, libido, loss of libido, gastric problems, you know, the list goes on, let's face it, a brain fog, overwhelm, anxiety, crying, want to kill your husband, want to commit suicide. That is your body screaming out in pain. That's what I want to get across to women. Your body is screaming, it's missing things. It's screaming in the form that you've got aches and pains. You know, you feel tired and achy. That's pain, that's your body wanting something, but it's not a painkiller that it wants. And actually, the answer to a lot of these symptoms is pretty straightforward. And it just means taking supplements. Because with the best will in the world, we can't get what we need from food. You know, if you're getting something from the supermarket, does it even have any nutrients in? I don't know. And they say, you know, eat 2 lots of oily fish a week. But again, what quality of fish are you getting? So I've seen the greatest changes with myself because I'm now symptom free, whereas 4 years ago I was on my knees, literally. And my clients who, because I've spent 4 years researching all of this, so I've added in supplements as and when I've gone, do you know what, I think I'm going to add that in. So it might be, you know, ashwagandha came a year after the multivitamin or something. But when I work with women now, we're adding these things in over the space of 2 to 4 weeks. So they're seeing changes very quickly because it's all going back into the body, whereas I saw it very, very gradually. But like I say, I'm 49 now. I still have periods, but my periods, ironically, are better and healthier now than they ever have been. I've got the most regular cycle in my life now. And I
have as well.
Yeah.
Ever since lockdown, suddenly it's all gone back to normal.
Well, what do you think the difference is with lockdown for you then?
It's removed a lot of rushing around.
Yeah. A lot of women have noticed, obviously, for some women it's exacerbated things. Yeah. But I also have a lot of clients that go, God, lockdown's been brilliant. I haven't had to go to work. Exactly. Says a lot, doesn't it? Says a lot. we weren't made to kind of live the life nowadays that with the pace that we run at.
No.
And we've just got more and more hectic. And one of the big things that I have to help with is let go of who you were, that you're not a 30-something person now. You're not going to have the energy of that 30-something person. You're going to have the energy of a 50-year-old. But do you know what? There's a positive to that, because you wouldn't be considered quite right if you're jumping around like an excitable loon in your 50s. It just doesn't sit right. You know, you can be excited and bouncy in your 20s and your 30s to some extent, but you don't want that level of energy and excitement as you go into your 50s. And because my discipline is Japanese, we call it the third age of wisdom. So actually they see as women transform from being able to give birth to not giving birth is actually the start of their wisdom. Because I suppose in a way we're not controlled by swinging hormones anymore, so we can actually be sensible and get on with things.
So I have, this is an awful comment I'm about to make, but I'm going to say it anyway. Child-free me says, so hang on. Are we saying that during the years that people are having children, there's no wisdom in there? Does that make me wise because I didn't have children?
Women are pretty wise anyway, but I think the Japanese, they're just a slightly different culture, aren't they? But they do see that women, that once they're not ruled by their hormones, and let's face it, when we have a hormone day, we rip off the heads of our colleagues and our partners and our kids. So we know what it means. That actually is that balancing out of hormones means we can actually be sane every day instead of maybe only 2 weeks a month.
Yeah, that's fair.
But you know what, because you and I both haven't had children, we potentially our menopause is maybe a little bit sooner because we've been chugging through the eggs a bit more. But on the other hand, if we're carrying excess estrogen, then we might go a little bit later.
Yeah.
So, you know, no two women's bodies are the same. We're just looking, when I'm working with women and their symptoms, we're looking for the grouping, the patterns of the underlying, grouping the symptoms by the underlying patterns.
Yeah, and this is something that seems to come up a lot. And I know you talk about, sorry, I've got a dog trying to.
That's all right.
Nod my arm.
Might be asking for her walks in.
But one of the things that I know we sort of cover off quite often is this, the fact that, you know, obviously there's a big list of symptoms and different people get a different selection of symptoms.
Yeah.
But if we go to the doctor, if we find a doctor who is sympathetic, it's always a good starting point. But anyway, it tends to be treated as perimenopause, not as, okay, your perimenopause is particularly showing fatigue, night sweats, and I don't know, insert other things here, whilst that person over there is having hot flushes and whatever. And it shouldn't be too big a leap to see that those things need addressing differently depending on what cocktail of symptoms you're experiencing.
I completely agree. So just because I didn't say at the start, I'm a shiatsu practitioner in Chinese medicine. So shiatsu is actually Japanese. So we take Chinese medicine and then we add a bit of Japan on it to it. But the theory of it all means that when I, 4 or 5 years ago, I was losing my mind. And I thought, because I'd virtually walked out of my job, in a stressful job in computer software, project management, because I felt like it was killing me. All these symptoms, anxiety, crying at everything, low moods. I mean, on a piece of paper, I would have ticked that I was depressed, but I didn't feel depressed. But all these symptoms added up. So the day I found out I was menopausal, because I had never heard the word perimenopausal, it's quite simple. If you've got periods and symptoms, you're perimenopausal. And especially if you're in your 40s. So don't let a GP tell you otherwise. You're totally entitled to be perimenopausal.
And to have periods.
And have periods. And also one lady contacted me this morning, and PMS and perimenopause, they can be the same thing. It's your hormones affecting things, it's your underlying health affecting things, and it all collides nastily as you hit your mid-40s. So you can be perimenopause. There are people in their 30s, and I suspect they might not be perimenopausal, but they'll most certainly have adrenal fatigue if they have a lot of these symptoms, and be missing their vital nutrients. Exactly the same thing post having a baby. Say you had a baby at 38 and you've got the fatigue, the tiredness, the aches and pains. It's exactly the same symptoms as the perimenopause. They're actually just labels at the end of the day. I care about the symptoms that you have. So going back to when I found out my symptoms were the menopause, my first question was like, but I don't have a hot flush. I don't get it. How can I be menopausal? I don't have a hot flush. Didn't understand it. So I looked at all these symptoms, and from a Chinese medicine head, the theory of, they were a mess. There was a hot flush, fatigue, overwhelm, itchy skin, blah, blah. And I was like, they make no sense. It makes no bloody sense. And here I am, I feel the cold, I'm tired, I'm anxious, and you're telling me it should be irritable things, hot flushes and night sweats. It doesn't make sense. So I looked at my symptoms and thought how to make sense of it all. And the patterns of the body and the energy patterns of the body are perfectly explained in Chinese medicine. And they pretty much boil down to something going on with the kidneys or adrenals, and something going on with the liver. And if it goes on with the kidneys and adrenals, it's kind of cold-based. And if it's going on with the liver, it gets hot-based. So I was able to start separating all this out and understanding why I got certain set of symptoms. But then a woman that would come to me in her 50s would be a different set of symptoms. And so it doesn't matter what the label is. I mean, it's good to know if you're peri or post, obviously, it helps. But it really is, what is your specific set of symptoms? And then coming down to and going, well, these 3 symptoms are indicative of you've got essential fatty acids missing. So that's your omega-3 oil. These symptoms, well, these are ones saying you're really adrenal fatigued. This one, definitely impaired gut health. For example, bleeding gums and body odor, both are examples that you've got impaired bacteria in your gut, and we need to get better bacteria into your gut. Night sweats, liver, so we need to cleanse something out of your diet there to help you sleep better. And then sleep. I saw a post the other day that said, any tips for insomnia? Oh my gosh, there is no one tip that's going to help insomnia. We have to take apart your whole life pattern. We have to take all of the absolute underlying causes of menopause. So bless you, but just having a lavender pillow spray is not going to sort out your menopausal sleep problems. But like I say, get the missing vital nutrients, get the essential fatty acids, work on your adrenal fatigue, because that does mean working on, it takes time, that one. Impairing your gut health, you can turn around your gut health really quickly, and you can detoxify your liver really quickly. It's just understanding how to do all these things.
That's a lot of information.
I'm sorry, I do that, don't I? But
yes,
I can sum it up more easily. So on my website, cotswoldmenopause.co.uk, literally click onto that website and there is a free download. And I relabeled it. It was 7 tips to a fabulous menopause, which I thought was a bit frivolous. Don't use something called Headline Analyzer to tell you a good headline. I've changed it to how to have a successful natural menopause.
Cool.
And it's got 7 of the major areas like sleep, anxiety, belly fat, and it tells you how to tackle those things. But what I've also got, and I did rush to get it ready for, I got it rushed to get it ready for the summit over the weekend that sadly we weren't able to have. But I help normally a group of women go through a 28-day change to their relationship with the menopause. So I call it 28 days to a happy and healthy menopause. And in that time, we turn around some of their symptoms, we alleviate some, we erase others and deal with their mindset and how they're feeling about things. So at the end of it, they're like, do you know what? It's not about being miserable. It's about understanding it, taking back control and turning this thing around and actually having a good menopause. Because if you can have a good menopause, you will set yourself on a path to optimum health for the rest of your life. Because one of the biggies of taking HRT is to ward off osteoporosis and heart disease. And these are really, really serious conditions we don't want you to have. So whether you choose to be HRT or natural, we don't want you having osteoporosis and heart issues. So again, it's about balancing out your life. It's for exercise, it's quality over quantity. It's knowing the right kind of exercise and doing, and for those ladies that go, oh, exercise, we're only talking about 10 or 15 minutes a day and most of it can be done in your kitchen. So to ward off osteoporosis, it's about making sure you have optimal bone health, flexible, strong joints. The one you reminded me of, balance, so that you don't fall over in the first place. And some impact to make sure you've got nice strong bones, along with having the nutrients. You do need to have some stressing on the bones. That's what makes them stronger. And also the nutrients have got to get through to the tendons and ligaments because they don't have a natural blood supply. So we have to push in nutrients to make sure ligaments and tendons are good as well. So that's osteoporosis. And then on the heart disease side, well, heart disease can be so many things, but if we're getting your health into great shape now, and then you take those lessons for now and apply them to the rest of your life. So in resolving and sorting out and balancing your menopause now and feeling great now, you're actually redirecting your path to greater health for the rest of your life.
Yeah, which is pretty epic, really, isn't it?
It is. And so that's what I say to the ladies. So I normally do 28 days as a group experience, but that only runs a few times a year and there won't be one now till January, February next year. So I decided to turn it into a video series. I get comments, people go, oh, I don't want to read an ebook. Oh, I don't want to do a course. So I tried to make it a little bit more entertaining so you get to listen to me talk once a week. But it does mean I can offer it at a much lower price. And it is packed full of information. I mean, you know how much I talk. Imagine letting me talk straight for 45 minutes once a week. Don't worry, it comes with colourful graphics, so it makes it more interesting. And supporting guides and all sorts of things. And so I've just literally released it this weekend, my 28 days. Stay at home, study on your sofa in your pajamas with the dog by your side video series.
Sounds good.
And it's normally £97. But today, with this discount code, you get 30% off. And the discount code is HOPE28. So if anybody's interested in that, you want to go to my website, cotswoldmenopause.co.uk, and you use the code HOPE28. And I will show you how you can have a successful natural menopause.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Andrea.
Oh, you're welcome. I don't know if anybody's got any questions. I don't think I was having a...
None have come up, no.
It's probably the time of day, isn't it? It's a little bit difficult if people are still at work. But I'll tell you what, if you're watching this on later on and you've got any questions, post the questions below. We will answer them. There's so many great experts in this group, and I don't reckon we get utilised enough. What do you think?
No, it's true.
I mean, I go on and stick my nose into a lot of posts and go, hello,
Hi.
you on a multivitamin yet? So you do see me pop up, and I can be quite irritating because I want to stick my nose in there and tell you to do the basics. But yeah, there's a reason why I tell you to do the basics, because you got to do the basics before you do anything else. So basics are multivitamins, magnesium, omega-3. They really are. Your body will thank you, and it won't scream in pain so much.
Fair.
Yeah.
Awesome. So we've got no questions for now. So shall we leave that? And then if anybody does want to ask any questions, just pop them in the post and we'll answer them later.
Yeah. So we're going to say bye-bye from Facebook now.
Yep.
So say bye-bye, Emily.
Bye.
I never checked how to stop a live. Stop live stream. Okay, we're going now. But if you've got any questions, please just ask us.